Hey, welcome back to Guided by Faith. I am your host, Jay Holland, and just want to take a moment to celebrate. I don't remember the exact date, but we're coming upon just about 1 year of the Guided by Faith devotionals, and I'm just encouraged that you keep listening and you are sharing it because the listening audience is growing. And so I just want to give a big thank you for that. And if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't shared it with somebody, it'd be really helpful and awesome if you do that. And then finally, if you don't know about it, I do a weekly email called Things for Thursday, where I just put out things that I find enjoyable or interesting. A lot of it's for parents, but there's typically some stuff that's interesting for students involved as well. And when you sign up for it, I'll send you some things that immediately are helpful for you. So like some scripture memory tools, questions to ask before you get into a dating relationship, and then some other things that you might find interesting. So you can get those, and then you can either just continue to get the email or you can delete it. It's up to you, whatever's helpful for you. So this week we're going to be exploring some of the different things that go along with faith and following Jesus. Today, and all of this is it's really interesting. It's coming out of a scripture passage that I think I shared a little bit last week, where Paul is talking to Jewish people. Let me just read the passage and then show you the correlation. So in Romans chapters 1, 2, and 3, the Apostle Paul is talking to people, basically building the case that everybody needs the gospel, that everybody needs forgiveness from Jesus because everybody's sinned. And so he's talked about various different segments of society, and now he's talking about the Jewish people. And in Romans chapter 2, verse 17, Paul says, "But if you call yourself a Jew and rely on the law and boast in God and know his will and approve what is excellent, because you are instructed from the law, and if you're sure that you yourself are a guide to the blind, a light to those who are in darkness, and an instructor of the foolish, and a teacher of children, having the law, the embodiment of the knowledge of truth, you then who teach others, do you not teach yourself? While you preach against stealing, do you steal? While you say that one must not commit adultery, do you commit adultery? You abhor idols. Do you rob temples? You who boast in the law dishonor God by breaking the law. For as it is written, the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles because of you." So this is a pretty convicting passage for those who are in the Jewish faith. And the Apostle Paul saying there's some absolutely, in his time period, there were very legitimate followers of God who were Jewish. But there were a lot of people that just relied on the fact that they were born into a Jewish family. And so that automatically made them God's chosen people. And they really didn't follow God in faith. And I thought about especially that last verse where it says the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles because of you. Now, I'm not a Jew. I'm actually a Gentile, but I am a believer. I'm a Christian, and it's something that I've noticed over time that there are a lot of people who claim to be Christian, but are not actually Christian. They're not following, they're not practicing. And it reminds me of this quote from Brennan Manning that said, "The greatest single cause of atheism in the world today is Christians who acknowledge Jesus with their lips, walk out the door, and deny him by their lifestyle. That is what an unbelieving world simply finds unbelievable." And it got me thinking, that is true, that there are so many people who claim to be Christian who deny Jesus with their life. And I would just simply, what I want to do is make the case today for a couple of minutes. I want to just caution you on things that don't actually make you a Christian. There's a lot of people who claim to be Christian. And so, it's in some ways Christian is an identity just like West Virginian or Floridian or American is an identity. But as far as truly belonging to Jesus, that's what I mean. When I say Christian, I'm thinking in the book of Acts, where at Antioch, they first called them Christians. And that's because outside people looked at them and said, these are like little followers of Jesus. They just want to be just like Jesus. They're devoted to Jesus. And it's like, yeah, that's a great definition of Christian. But here are some things that don't actually make you a Christian in the sense of transformed life belonging to Jesus. Just saying you're a Christian does not mean you're a Christian. Just saying you're a Christian does not mean you're a Christian. There are, in this world, I believe 2 billion people who identify as Christian, but for many of them, it's just heritage. It's just ethnic heritage. I'm Christian because my parents are Christian. And that's another one. Having Christian parents does not make you a Christian. Having Christian parents does not make you a Christian. Now, again, I understand there's some sense in which the word Christian is a broad identifier. But true faith, the scriptures show over and over again, is not something that comes automatically because you're born into a household. Paul talks about how not all Jews are truly Jews in the eyes of God. It's those Jews who are following him in faith. And the same thing, just because somebody says they're a Christian doesn't actually mean that they're a Christian in the eyes of God. Knowing Jesus died and rose does not make you a Christian. Knowing that Jesus died and rose again does not make you a Christian. James 2:19 says, "You believe that God is one. You do well. Even the demons believe and shudder." And so think about that. Nobody is more sure of the death and resurrection of Jesus than Satan and the demons. So just having factual knowledge does not make you a Christian. Another thing, attending church does not make you a Christian. Attending church does not make you a Christian. That is a work. Attending church is an incredibly important thing. It should be the symptom of a Christian, but just going to church doesn't make you a Christian, nor does getting baptized make you a Christian. Now, for those listening, we have all kinds of spectrum of belief. Believers' baptism is what we follow, which means you get baptized after you put your faith in Jesus. There's some who get baptized as babies. I'm not going into that right now. What I'm telling you is getting baptized does not make you a Christian. So what makes you a true Christian? It's faith in Jesus and following Jesus. Faith in Jesus and the kind of faith that makes you follow Jesus as King. And so I'm running over today, but I think that's important for you to just look at your life. Are you claiming to be a Christian because of where you were born, or because of your mom and dad, or because of your church attendance, or because you got baptized? Or have you genuinely put your faith in Jesus and your life's path is to follow him? That's my prayer for you, and then we will explore what that looks like over the rest of the week. So think about that, analyze your own life, and we will unpack it through the rest of the week.